We don't know the day or hour. Not even Jesus knows. Only God knows. The Bible says we have to have patient endurance. We have to be waiting on God, as the psalmist says. Jesus said when he returns, will he find the faith, at Luke 18, verse 8. The Watchtower likes to talk about this faithful and discreet slave. When it talks about this slave, it mentions how the delay can get to some of those who fall into that category of oversight, like that slave who had the responsibility to shepherd the flock. They could, because of the delay, start doing things they're not supposed to. What happened with Adam and Eve in the garden, they had a paradise conditions there. They were perfect humans, but it didn't mean that they couldn't make bad choices. We might confuse perfection with like someone's a robot, like they couldn't make bad decisions. I mean, it's like humans today, we're imperfect, but we can make good decisions. We can do right. Same thing with a perfect person, they also could make the wrong choice. And so Adam and Eve were in that garden. We know they made the wrong choice. Could the delay have been a factor here? What I mean is that, for instance, in Genesis chapter 5, verse 1, it says, this is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them, male and female, and blessed them and called them mankind in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness after his image, and named him Seth. After he begat Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he had sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So his total life was 930 years. There's a total of 130 years here, from Adam's creation to the birth of Seth. Now, in between that time, we know there were, from Adam's creation, they were in the garden. He was naming animals. He was taking care of the garden. He was married to his wife, Eve. She was created. They sinned. They were kicked out. They had a son, two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. So there was 130 years of all this activity happening before Seth was born. So the question would be, and of course it's a question that is unanswered, that of the 130 years, how much of that time did they spend in the garden, and how much of that time was it after their eviction from the garden? Let's say they lived in the garden 20 years, and then they were kicked out, maybe even more. It might have been a delay in the sense that, God at times, he will let you just live life and not really engage as much. Let you be one to show that your dependence on him, you're still seeking him. Could it have been a period of time like that? And then here comes this proposal by the devil. God says it's not good for him to continue by himself in the garden. So how much time was he by himself that statement was made that it's not good for him to continue in this situation? I mean, he's showing up to work, he's doing his work, he's naming animals, but he was evidently alone for a period of time. How long was that? Could have been years? Okay, we don't know. If there were definitely years involved in them being in the garden, and perhaps God just let them live life without really interfering, it could help us to appreciate, or rather see, how things might have transpired. And there may be wondering, where is God? Like Jesus, he was on the torture stake, and he would say, God, my God, why have you forsaken me? So God just let things transpire. But he didn't do like Adam and Eve, thinking badly. He just made the declaration because he felt that God leaving him and letting him experience what he was going through. It was like 1,600 years from Adam's creation to the flood. Most of that was after the Garden of Eden. And God was just letting people go about what they were doing. But it got to the point where every thought was to do bad all the time. And then God told Noah, 120 years left, and destruction is going to happen. This delay time when God just allows life to go on, and then people begin to say, well, where is God? Where is his promised coming of Christ? But again, that's what gets us. As Jesus said, as the increasing of lawlessness, the love of the greater number will cool off. And, the delay to when it happens, and while you're waiting, the things that do happen. So that's the challenge before all people that want to be faithful servants of God, is really building their faith, having that type of strong faith that where in spite of the delay, in spite of the things they have to endure, in spite of all the fraudulent Christians as we see today, so many, like weeds everywhere, and the world and pressure that it puts on a person, will they maintain that faithfulness? Will they have the right thoughts and maintain that faith, hope, and love, as the Bible brings out? This is what remains, faith and hope and love. Will they maintain that in spite of the delay? As Jesus says, your enemies will be people in your own family. So that's going to call for prayer and really reliance on God and throwing that burden upon God and just keep on going. Because the Bible says, he that endures to the end will be saved. Jesus says that because of the future things that's going to happen, it's better to get rid of an eye or whatever. Of course, he's not talking literally. He's just talking the determination you must have to maintain faithfulness, because in spite of the delay, it's going to be worth it. One thing we know about God, he never loses. If you follow your if you have a sports team, you look at the wins and losses. But with God, you don't even have a W and an L column. You don't have a wins and losses, because God never loses. So it's all wins. So if the earth is not made a paradise like God said, well, that would be a loss for God, because we already saw what he wanted done in Genesis chapter 1, what he told Adam and Eve. And if they had to maintain their faithfulness, they would have been the most popular couple on the earth. His purpose must be accomplished, because there never is a lost column when it comes to God. So once he said what he said in Genesis about the earth and subduing it and all these type of things, and of course making it a beautiful place, he wanted to be a place filled with righteousness, then that's got to happen. And that's why the Bible says there will be a new heavens and new earth. God is making all things new. But whether we make it there or not depends on surviving the delay.